Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has emphasized on good company, keeping the company of the righteous servants of Allah, keeping the company of the awliya, keeping the company of the truthful ones. Allah says, وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ, be with those who are the truthful ones. And company plays a major role in your spiritual development. We've all heard of Mawlana Rumi, rahimahullah ta'ala, a very famous, not just a poet, but a great saint of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says in his language, he says, Molvi hargiz na shud, Mawla Rum, ta ghulam shams tabrizi na shud. That he's referring to himself, that he, Mawlana Rumi, he would not be who he is today were it not for the company of Shams Tabriz, rahimahullah ta'ala. So, the company of the righteous, it shapes and it nurtures you spiritually. The Prophet ﷺ has mentioned an example, an analogy of what it is like to keep the company of the righteous. And the analogy which the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned is good company is similar to the one who is a perfume seller. If you have ever been to a perfume shop, regardless of whether you wear perfume or not, you will come out of that shop fragranced. You'll have a nice smell. And this is the example of good company, the company of the righteous. Now, the example of bad company, which has also been mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, is an example of a blacksmith. Even if you don't go near a blacksmith, right, your clothes will be affected by it. So good company and bad company, they directly affect your spiritual development, they directly affect your spiritual nurturing. And there's another narration of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, where it was asked to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam that which company is the best of companies. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam replied that when you look at that individual, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first condition. If we want to be in the suhbah of the righteous, of the awliya, then this is a framework, a guideline that the Prophet ﷺ said, when you see them, you remember Allah. Right? And just a side point, if you see a business person, you remember wealth. But when you see a man or a woman of Allah, you remember Allah. So the second thing that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned was that when they speak, their conversation, it will increase you in knowledge. And the third thing the Prophet ﷺ mentioned was that their actions, what they do, they remind you of the hereafter. And all three attributes are found within the awliya, the righteous friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if an individual wants to spiritually be nourished with the lights of cleanliness, with the lights of being purified, then it is vital to be in the company, كُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, be in the company of the righteous ones. And the righteous ones, the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned three characteristics in this one narration. That when you see them, you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they speak to you, you increase in knowledge. And when they do an action, you remember the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the ability to understand the importance of good company.